Hey, guys, welcome to class, week 3. And this week, we'll start freezing class. Oh, no, we start freezing class from next week on, so Monday. So you guys have until Monday to finish class 1, but most of you have finished class 1, so I see that. That's great. Well, if you have any general questions, you can feel free to ask us. Other people join. I know Turkey is certainly planning to be here. He sent me an email saying he'll be about, he'll be here, but only for the first 20 minutes. So, and I do have, I wanted to respond to a post he made in the forums, or was it an email? I forgot. But I thought I might as well respond to it here because it's likely to apply to all of you. So yeah, I see that you guys are making pretty cool progress here. I like to, I like to see more of that. And I hope you're enjoying the quests. Number 2 is, the stilts one. The stilts and cormorants are kind of connected to each other. I think is that the last of the connected quests? Yeah. Yeah, I think so. I think that's the last, because I think in 2B you had 2 quests that were connected. I think, right? You had, did you have? No, you had to implement both binary search trees and lazy trees, not lazy trees. Was it? I keep forgetting. Oh, general trees. You had to do general trees in 2B. Yeah, here we have a quest and a sequel. So you'll have whatever you implement in quest number 2, you can take forward into quest number 3 stills. In fact, it kind of works out quite nicely, I think. I don't know if you have friends who are enrolled in Mikkel's class. So Mikkel is also teaching CS2B this quarter. And if I'm not mistaken, he is also following the general contour that Michael Losef had. Well, of course, he might have changed it here and there, just like I have. Some of my quests are different from Michael's assignments, but on the whole, the topics he's selected, I think Michael is also, or Mikkel is also sticking to the same sequence. So you may, in fact, encounter people in other sections of CS2B also working on sparse matrices and things like that. In fact, you should encourage them to see, well, you got 20 out of 20 for your sparse matrix lab. You can actually see if it actually works, not just visually works, but you can test it out if it works by submitting it here, and if it's C++, obviously. So you can have them submit their sparse matrix code and see if it actually stands up to snuff. Any other questions? Hey, Aman, you should. Are you able to share your screen at all, or your camera? Hey, Aman. Also, you shouldn't respond in chat. Okay, nobody looks at chat. Even for me, the message just flashes on screen, and it's definitely not on video. So anyone who is watching the video will probably think that Aman is slacking off. Okay, all right, so that's great. That's much better. Very nice, very nice. Hey, oh, so you got these colored lights in the background? Oh, so I see, just colored LEDs. Yeah, color changing LEDs. They're really cool, right? You can get these on Amazon. Now, I got a few too. Very, very nice colors. In fact, my CS2A student also has, what's his name? Nate. Yeah, Nate. He also had these really cool colors in the background, and then his camera was on, and the first lecture, we had a lot of very nice, better than some Netflix movies. All right. Well, you know what? I don't know if we should wait for other people because it's 1:05. And if you want to do a quick overview of all around, unless you have general questions, you can ask me too. That's fine. But otherwise, if you want to do a quick roundup, just updating each other, it's perfectly fine. I'll stick around. And then, hey, Tony, yeah, welcome. Yeah, switch on your camera too as when you're able to. Yeah, that's great. And yeah, everybody, okay, Tony, and pass this message on to Turkey and all these other people too. Try to be on time so that we can also end the meeting sooner, right? Because I mean, after all, at the end of the day, this is just an informal meeting, right? It's not in the syllabus. It's just voluntarily requested by you guys. So that means that the sooner you can let everybody go, the more thankful they will feel. So rather than come late and then we are having to, you know, just carry on some table talk until you get here, that means that everybody is held up. So please pass this message on. Okay, well, there's a question that Turkey asked, and Turkey, if you're watching this video, please do watch this video because this is the answer. So Turkey asked that, you know, there are people in CS2A in the blue subreddit who are struggling and posting questions. Are we allowed to answer those questions? Now, I don't remember saying don't answer these questions. In fact, everywhere in the syllabus, I say you have to go out and help everybody, including in the blue and green. Right? So in fact, I think personally, this is my opinion, okay? Since most of you have actually gone through blue, you just didn't jump directly into 2C, like some students may get prerequisite waivers and things like that and jump into 2C. Well, actually, strangely enough, many of those students have dropped. Many of the students who enrolled in 2B without having done the earlier requests, they kind of struggled with the blue, but you know, some of them didn't just drop. They actually sent me an email saying, I want to enroll in your 2A. I want to drop 2C and get into your 2A and do the whole sequence. Can you give me an ad code? So, and I actually gave them ad codes because in 2A, they had already done up to quest 7 or something. And when they got to quest number 9 of 2A, that's when they figured that, well, this is going to be too much for me to, you know, finish blue and green and then start red. I'm never going to pass red. So why don't I just do 2A? And they asked me for an ad code. And even though this is the last day to issue an ad code, tonight is the last day, I gave them an ad code for 2A because it's fantastic, right? Because now not only have they got what they want, I've got a fantastic piece of, you know, treasure, because I've got a student in 2A who's already done all the 7 quests. Well, not 9 quests, but you know, most of the quests, 7 quests, and obviously they're much more experienced than beginners because they enrolled in my 2C. It's just that, you know, they had to brush up their knowledge and all. So I've actually got like an expert tutor who was enrolled in class also. So they can help their classmates now and, you know, more confidently and better. So, but, you know, where I was going with that was that you should like totally feel free to browse the green and red forums, green and blue forums, in addition to, you know, red, and answer those questions, because more than just the answer, right, or giving them hints, I'll tell you what is going to help them, right? If they see someone who is in red territory, who has struggled in blue like them before, just 3 months ago, right? Most of you, it's like 3 or 6 months ago, right? Can't be more than that. So they say, you know, that person is actually solving these, you know, hard ass quests in red. And I thought I would never be able to do that. And this guy is in red, right? On top of a mountain, red mount. And he's come all the way back to the blue sea, right? To give us pointers and say, hey, don't be afraid, because I was in your shoes. And now I'm these things I can just solve in my sleep. 2 days enough for me to do the entire thing. All your blue work I can do in 2 days. But I thought that wasn't possible when I actually did blue. But it's just one word from that will basically just ignite some jet fuel under their, you know, in their engines. Okay, so these are like super duper valuable things that you can pay back, right? To because if you think you've got good stuff out of this, here is a way in which not pay forward now, or you can pay back and say, well, you know what, I actually benefited from this. And in fact, think about it, right? When you were struggling, if some 2C student had come and posted a note saying, hey, don't worry, because I was in this in the same shoes, but now I'm just solving, you know, in place algorithms crazy, right? So and they say that, you'll absolutely feel enthused, right? And you'll actually know, now you know, right? Now you know, you can experience firsthand what that person would have said to you, because at that time it doesn't seem like, well, you know, but that's why, you know, I can tell them and in fact I do tell them. I don't know if I told you guys when you were doing CS2A, but I tell them, right? And now many of you are thinking you're struggling with the blue quests, right? Basically getting a simple program to compile and run and getting thrown off by these simple errors that unfortunately C++ kind of disguises like some major big ass errors, right? Because ultimately it's something like, you know, a missing semicolon or something, and you get 3 pages of errors there. And those things can basically unnerve students. And I tell them, right, that's the greatest, I wouldn't say stumbling block, that is the greatest retardation force when you're trying to make progress in CS2A. It's not how much expertise or knowledge or skill you can bring to bear. It is how much of a mental fortitude you have to look at these pages and pages of errors, right, that the compiler throws at you and say, well, yeah, I don't care how many errors there are because I know I should. Okay, because I'm just going to wade through it and I'll figure out what the hell there is, right? So because once you get to that mindset, you'll find that no matter what the errors are, because you have a general sense of it should work. If it's not working, this is exactly what's going on. Let's see if that's what the compiler is trying to say. Now, when you have a prior going into a search problem, now I'm talking machine learning, right? I'm not even talking, ordinary computer science 2A, right? So I mean, in machine learning, whenever you approach a pattern recognition task in machine learning, a lot of people say, I'm going to do unsupervised blind learning and try to discover a pattern, right? And I know VCs who are pumping in millions of dollars, and I think that's $1 million just gone waste right there, right? So pumping money into some group of people who say that I can discover a pattern in the data for you, okay? All I need is an algorithm. Now, the thing is, maybe they can with a really, really sophisticated algorithm. But if you bring even the slightest bit of prior into this, prior knowledge, okay, the amount of information and patterns you can distill out of the data is like mind-blowingly more. And it all comes down to what we know as the Bayesian theorem, right? The prior probability the prior probability is a huge determining term in the overall posterior probability, right? Yes, this is because prior probability times a conditional, and divide by, normalize that, you get the posterior probability, and posterior probability is the likelihood, right? What is the likelihood that this is going to happen if that is true, right? That's the question you're asking in machine learning, right? Because if you didn't have a prior hypothesis, there really is no machine learning here. You're just looking for random patterns that fit existing known patterns out there, right? But if you're looking for a brand new pattern, you got to look, inject your intuition into the algorithms. This is the best data learning engineers, right? The machine learning or data engineers are the ones who they're not the ones who can come up with brilliant algorithms. They're able to get their own intuition, right? And inject that into the algorithm, because an algorithm is worth as much as the intuition that has been injected into it. And that intuition did not come from the algorithm. That intuition came from a human. So ultimately, the value in the algorithm has come from a human's head. So the top data engineers out there, they basically look at a mine of data, right? Lakes and lakes of data. And they say, well, there's got to be a pattern there. What pattern could it be, right? And they come up with a whole bunch of theories saying, maybe that's a pattern. Maybe that's a pattern, right? And these patterns couldn't just have boiled out of the data like that. They just bubbled in their head. But then with the data and a finite set of patterns, now you can run, some kind of analysis to find the best fit of each of those patterns. Yes or no? Right? That characterizes the best machine learning efforts that I have seen in the past. Now, so even in speech recognition, right? If I give you a waveform and say, what's the speech in there, right? Chances are you're going to be like 51% accurate, now instead of 99% accurate, right? It's never going to cut it's not going to cut the mustard out there, right? So in order to find out what was spoken, you also need some prior expectation of what could possibly have been spoken at that time. In other words, if you're looking for an eraser, right, but you really need a pencil, and your pencil is right in front of you, you're never going to find the pencil, right? Because your mind is looking for the eraser, it's primed. Everything else is blanked out. Everything else in your search space is blanked out, except your pattern that you're just moving through the data, trying to see if it fits, right? So you're just moving this hole to see if it just slots into something, right? So if you don't have a pattern, you're basically just moving that hole around, and you can't fit it anywhere. And I don't know where I was going with that, but essentially coming into the search process with already an expectation, one or more expectations, and not all of them may be right? And that is another thing that characterizes good machine learning and data engineers, is that they come in with a lot of preconceived ideas about what could potentially be patterns. Preconceived, yes, there's no doubt about that, right? If someone tells me I have a lot of preconceived ideas about what could be going on, that's the person I want to hire. However, I don't want to hire a person who says I have a bunch of preconceived ideas and those are the only ideas that could be true. Everything else is wrong. Okay, then they're unlikely to look elsewhere, and they're unlikely to give up on their own hypothesis, even though empirical evidence argues against that. Do you know what I mean? So in science, right, in the philosophy of science, what we say is that, you know, a hypothesis, when you initially form it, simplifies the world. Yes, like, you know, Copernicus theory and, you know, Kepler and things like that. So when you first come up with a hypothesis, it simplifies the world. You know, you can make sense of things. But all of a sudden, after you've been used to it, you're going to start discovering anomalies and saying, well, you know, according to that theory, this doesn't work. According to that theory, that doesn't work. Okay, you know, the light doesn't bend around stars according to the theory, or, you know, it does bend, whatever it is, right? So you start finding all these little gotchas with this theory. Yet we don't have a better theory, so we hang on to it and apply these plasters, you know, band-aids, not bandits, on this theory, so that it becomes more, you know, more and more held together. But it's not really a theory anymore. It's so ugly, and its entire face is covered with band-aids. Yes. So at some point we say, well, you know, guys, you know, to hell with that theory, right? It's got too many band-aids on it. I don't want to use it anymore. I'm going to abandon it and use a completely new theory. Okay, like we say, you know, Newton's theory of gravitation. How, you know, it was successful 300 years. Okay, but, you know, it didn't explain a lot of things. And then Einstein said, no, you know, we have a completely new theory. We don't require this force of attraction, mysterious force of attraction between masses, right? And so we can explain it like this. And so his theory basically completely overturned because of the fact, not just it was successful, but because it was able to remove the most annoying plasters, you know, the band-aids from Newton's theory. So we say, we don't want that theory anymore. We'll come up with a new theory. So, however, the person that needs to come up with a replacement for that theory needs to be a person who is, you know, able to give in to intuition and say, well, that's a possibility. However, there are other possibilities also, and I'm going to be open-minded, right? I'm not going to say this is the only truth, this is the only God, this is the only theory. No, because that is not sensible. But I'm going to hold on to it because that's the best I have. But I'm going to keep open the possibility that there are other theories out there. Now, that kind of person will be sincere and genuine in testing their own theory, because they will be testing it with an open mind. Instead of saying, well, where are the holes so I can find some band-aids to patch over that? Okay, because if you're in the former, both people are wedded to the theory. Both people want the theory to succeed. But the one who is more objective about it and open-minded will test the theory open-mindedly. And that is exactly the case when it comes to testing computer programs. So as programmers, we're going to write programs, right? And we have to write lots and lots of programs. And the reason I say we have to write lots and lots of programs is not for practice, really, okay? You have to create lots and lots of stuff that you're proud of. And nobody else cares about, that's fine. Awesome. Keep creating, right? And the reason for that is that when you have a lot of shit like that, you will cease to be overly attached to any one thing, right? So if you're at work and you propose an idea, right? And someone says, no, you know, there's some problems, and you'll actually think really objectively about that problem, rather than say, no, that's really not a problem because my theory can address that. Or, you know, this plan of action will have some mysterious, you know, VC come in at the last moment and save our ass. Don't worry, okay? So this is the right, that kind of stupid, badass reasoning is never going to happen if you're not so tightly wedded to your own proposal at the expense of other good, potentially viable proposals out there. Exactly the same with programming. So when you write lots and lots of programs, you say, well, when you see these bugs in your program, you're not so desperate trying to make your program work at the cost of shitty code, right? Because that is the thing that I've seen the most with beginning programmers, is they start out with some bad code. Okay, maybe the algorithm is bad and it doesn't work. And instead of taking a step back and thinking about why doesn't it work? What is going on? Now, let me rewind and say, what is it that I actually want to do, right? Do I want to do this particular loop? No, this particular loop is just a superficial structure of this empirical world, right? What I want is essentially this, which is detached from that, and that can be achieved in 5 different ways. So let me see if that works, okay? Because ultimately what I want is the minimum set or something like that. Okay, so I don't want to do the sorting, I don't want to do this, and because there are other efficient ways in which I can prune so that I don't have to search half the space, you know, 1/4 of the space and things like that, and get to the answer sooner. So that will actually dawn upon us much more quickly if we just say, well, you know, that algorithm that I put together first, maybe it's my first complex algorithm and I'm so clever and it's nice, because that's how everybody feels, right? That's how I felt when I wrote my first program. So it's really cool, but I'm just going to make, you know, save it and put it in a tarball and an archive in my history so I can come back and look at it 10 years from now. Okay, and so lots and lots of programming will basically set us up for saying, well, I have a lot of trophies now. I don't really care about one particular trophy. and therefore, yeah, I'm just going to try it out. If it doesn't work, I'll try something else, rather than eking out every single thing out of thing. That is also not a good strategy. But trying to understand the problem certainly is. So well, I don't know. It was really a spiel. I shouldn't have taken up so much of your time, but I'm really happy with your progress, by the way. The only thing I would request is that please feel free and also, and not just feel free, please do go and help out and encourage your 2A students, okay? Because in a couple of quarters, they're going to be in your shoes. Most of them are, I can tell, right? Because they're actually hard workers. And many of them are trying hard. You can look in the forums too, right? Unlike last quarter, well, no, even last quarter, there were some students, right? But there are students who are actually trying very hard, trying to understand the material. And some of them are experienced too, and they're helping others, but it will certainly help. And it will be much better than instructors telling them, because I have seen that I can go on like a spiel like this with my 2A students and say, well, it's all going to be easy. Don't worry, keep going on, because in 2-3 quarters, you'll be like my 2C students. They have no idea, right? They're not going to believe me even, right? Because they don't even know that, these were really my students. They could have come from another college. Who knows, right? So, but if you go and tell them student to student interaction is like 1,000 times more efficient and better than professor to student interaction, right? That is why everything you do saves me like 100 times work. And I don't have to do anything that you teach your 2A students, I'm so grateful for. So thank you very much for listening to me. I took up 20 minutes of your time already, and nobody's joined. So I think it's just the 5 of you. And please pass a message on to Turkey, by the way. Okay, so you should totally feel free to post in the 2A forums and 2B too, because some of them, I don't know, maybe not 2B, because the only ones who have to do 2B probably dropped, I think. But if someone does ask in the 2B forum, in the green forum, please do help, and I will appreciate that. All of that counts for participation points, right? And they should just know that everything is within their reach, and that is the greatest stumbling block. Is many students just in 2A feel that I'm never going to get there, and they need to know, well, it's nothing actually. You just stick around, you'll be there. You just have to stay on the train. That's all. Okay. Please do tell them. All right. Thank you very much. So can we start the updates? So the sequence I have on my screen is Riley, followed by Walter, and then Tony after Walter, and then Zoom, and then Aman. Yes. Okay. Great. Thank you, Riley. So take the screen.
Okay, so yeah, I'm on Quest 3. I've been on that for the past few days. I kind of got stuck on a bug, and I'm still stuck on a bug, which just I can't even seem to figure out what it is exactly. So it's kind of been frustrating me. Maybe I'll post in the subreddit after I take a better look at it. But yeah, just working away at Quest 3 right now.
Yeah, I just got the password from Quest 1. I ran out of patience on there, so I know there's something I can fix, but I'm gonna have to move on and I'll go back to it later. So I'm hopefully gonna start Quest 2 probably today.
Alexa, connect to my Mac.
I'm close to finish Quest 1, and I think finish today and start questing for Quest 2 tomorrow.
Yeah, I also got the password on Quest 1, but also got that ran out of patience message. So I'll probably go back and try and fix up my solution, and then start on Quest 2.
Yeah, I'm on Quest 3 and I'm stuck on something, and I think I'm gonna work on it and improvise my code.
Awesome. Thanks for the updates, guys. Hey, Aman, that I thought I saw a different pattern before I didn't have the completed heart. I just saw the 2 lightsabers. So what is it? Is that a one strip or is it a panel?
It's a strip. Yeah, it's one strip.
Oh, it is a strip. I see. Are you driving it with Arduino or something?
No.
No, it's the entire thing you bought on Amazon or something. Cool. All right. Thank you very much for your updates. If you guys want a few minutes to just talk amongst yourself, I'm happy to turn the laptop around. And then, as usual, you can call me when the last person is going to leave the room, and I'll stop the recording. Unless you have any questions for me, right? If you have any questions for me, I'm happy to answer them. Yeah, and I hope you're enjoying the quest. And the progress, I'm actually very happy with the progress being made, because in the previous quarters, when I said, we're going to have like completely open-ended, all the quests will freeze. No, the first 5 quests, they're open until midterm. And then the last 4 quests are open until the final. Nobody quested until, 1 week before the midterm and 1 week before the final. And you can imagine, right? So think about it. Is it possible to even complete? For me, even though I created the quests, I don't want to be. I won't be comfortable, right? It's not like sit down and happy coding. It's 1 week if I had to solve all 4 of the first 4 quests. Okay, I'll get a brain freeze essentially, and so. It was a stupid decision on my part to say, these because I think it may help for professionals who are already in the field. And they know how to budget the time. But it doesn't work for students because they have a lot of priorities, right? They have to go on dates and go on bars, and they get, drunk and hangover the next day. All these things have to be accounted for. So they'll tend to push things out until the very last minute. And it never works to say, you got all the freedom in the world. Okay, so that's why this quarter, every week. So it's Monday, the first quest will freeze. That means everybody will have to do it, but only the ones who finish by Monday get scores for it. And please don't underestimate the amount of difficulty. Pass this message on. I know you guys know the quest will get hard as you move on, but it'll get hard in a nice way. All right. So, and tell me if I'm wrong. Each quest will get harder, and you will be frustrated. But when you cross it, you'll say, "I'm glad it was frustrating." Right? I'm glad it was hard because now I feel so much better. Right, every single quest I personally tested each of them, okay, is designed, I think, to give you that feeling, and you'll be totally satisfied with yourself if you complete the red 9. I can tell you, right, you will not feel intimidated by code for the rest of your life. And so then thank you all for coming today. It's a very short
excuse me, so I think on the syllabus it says a request freezes on Friday.
Oh, it does. All right, yeah, well, I got all right, I'll freeze it on Friday. 8 a.m. Okay. All right, cool. No worries. Thank you for reminding me, Tony. I'll also tell the other students, some of them may have forgotten. Do you guys want to talk, or should I just end the meeting?
I actually kind of had a question about quest 1. Maybe I can ask Riley and those who have finished it.
All right, I'll turn the laptop around. You guys carry on a conversation. All right, cool.
Perfect. Yeah, same as I forgot who was, someone else also ran out of patience on that quest 1, and I'm just trying to figure out what could cause that. And the only thing that I can think of would be having an extremely large target and lots of data would get me there, just because I would just make all the different sets and they would all potentially work just because they all get close to it without passing it. So I'm wondering if it's better to, prior to my sort of main loops, to check for that. And one of the reasons I think that might be a good idea, just because of the function add them all, which kind of hints at maybe at some point we should be adding them all and comparing that to the target, just because then we can say, before we even start, if the target's bigger than all of them together, then let's just skip the rest of it, because it will take lots of time. So I'm wondering how you guys went around that problem of such a large target. Did you guys do if statements before, or did it just sort of work out within your initial code?
I had a weird experience with this quest actually, because I worked on it and I got everything as finished as I thought it would need to be. And I got stuck on like the 3rd mini quest. I fixed one small bug and then everything else just passed. So it was probably one of the best quest experiences as far as submission. Are you talking about specifically, what are you talking about with the if statements before? Are you just saying like skipping targets or values larger than the whole target, or?
I just mean in that my worry for why I'm getting the ran out of patience, like it's saying like, oh, it took too long. That's basically what it's saying. And my worry with that is maybe I need to check whether or not the sum of all of them is less than the target before I do my code. Or if that's really necessary. I'm just trying to figure out what could cause my code to take too long, and a large target with data that's smaller would cause it to take a lot of time. So I'm wondering if you guys check for that prior.
Yeah, give me a second. I'll look back at my code and see what exactly I did there.
Did you have the same, was it Sung? Was it you that had the same
Yeah,
problem?
it was me. Yeah, I had the, yeah. I mean, I think I know why, but I can never be too sure. I think maybe like my vector is taking up too much space. Like right now, I think it takes up 2 to the n as just as long as my loop is going, which I think would be kind of quite inefficient as well.
Yeah.
Like I know of a solution that is 2 to the n time complexity and space complexity, but I kind of forgot how to do it, so I had to look it up.
Gotcha. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think it had something to do with like binary, or like you would have like maintain a vector of bools, and then just like check which one is like if it's on, then it's like, I don't know, actually. I kind of talked to somebody else about this, but honestly kind of forgot about it because I thought I was done with the quest. But yeah.
Yeah, I actually did get a lot of like for my coding, I did get a lot of inspiration from our binary search tree from last quarter. That sort of helped me tackle this one.
Yeah, actually, I did consider doing something like a breadth first search, like the one we implemented on Quest 8, but that didn't really pan out that well for me. So
So I checked my code, and the only conditions I check this is in the find biggest subset function. Before my loops, I check if master pointer is null, if the size of the master pointer list is 0, or if the target is 0. Those are the only 3 conditions I check before I get into my actual loops.
Okay, yeah. Okay, that's interesting then. So maybe I forgot to add one of those conditions, but I'm pretty sure I did because I think it mentions that in the spec. But yeah, I'll take a look. I don't want to spend too much time though. I think I'll move on to Quest 2 soon and just come back to it later on at some point.
yeah, I
But
don't
yeah,
think it's that much points. I think we're missing like 2 points. Well, at least for me, I'm missing 2 points, or like 2 trophies.
yeah, yeah. It's just interesting to think about what could cause it, and how to avoid it. I'm still not totally sure, but yeah. Thanks for looking that up, Riley. I appreciate it. Except for that, I don't have any questions. I don't know about you guys.
Yeah, I got nothing.
Actually, about the sorting question, I talked to someone else who's more like experienced, and he told me like there was like a technically a better solution, like if you have a sorted set, but like at least in terms of time, but it would take a lot of space. Like I think there was like a middle ground solution where it would take like 2 to the n over 2 like time, but then it would also take that amount of space, which our current solution would only take n amount of space.
Mm.
So I think there's like trade-offs, and I like, my opinion is that like I think this problem is just kind of it's one where it just takes quite long, because like you literally have to look through every set or like every possible set. I don't really know if it matters like whether the set is sorted or not. I'm not 100% sure on that though.
Yeah, that was my thing as well. I think I was talking about that last week, but I think there is some cases if you know like your target is gonna be compared to your data set a certain way, like if your target's very small and then you sort it and you find the smallest ones, then it might work. But I just think it's very dependent on what your target is and whatnot. And I think it also, it's in situations where it doesn't help, then you're just doing more work, which doesn't help you. So
Yeah. Or like, I guess you could do something like, you could like have a set of all the elements and then compare it with the target. And like, if the target is greater than half of the sum, then you start from the top side or something. I'm not sure, but
yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. But it would still have to be on that. It would have to be a very small, very large target for it to really be useful.
yeah, that's true. That's true.
I think we're good then.
Yeah, I'm gonna head out.
Yeah.
Hey,
Professor, I think we're all done.
Cool. Great. Okay, thanks. I will cut the meeting. Thank you all for attending today. I will see you guys next week and see you on the forums. Bye.
Perfect. Thank you. Bye.